Why does he throw eruptions? Why is he defiant? Well, because he has oppositional defiant disorder. Once again, tricky. The signs explain the label. They earn the label. This is why we called what you're doing this. And then this explains why you do what you do. It's a circle. It's a circle. It doesn't really tell you anything. It just goes around and around. Thank you for joining me here on The Doctor Is In. I'm Dr. Ray Guarini. I thank Andrew Kruchek, my producer man, who does all the stuff over there in Ann Arbor. It's a co-production of EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network and Ave Maria Radio Communications. Once again, walk with God always. That is the only walk that will matter in the end.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Celebrating 2,000 years of truth. This is the Guadalupe Radio Network. Radio for your soul.
You can turn your unused vehicle into a tax-deductible donation to the Guadalupe Radio Network. It's a lot simpler than you might think, too. Just call 1-866-628-2277 or come by grnonline.com and click Donate Now. One of our representatives will gladly walk you through the process, even arrange pickup. Later model cars or trucks are greatly appreciated. Just call 1-866-628-2277 or come by grnonline.com and click Donate.
Hi, I'm Debbie Georgiani.
And I'm Adam Bly.
We're the hosts of The Spirit World every Saturday morning on the Guadalupe Radio Network.
Join us as we help answer your questions on angels, demons, and how the physical and spiritual worlds interact.
That's The Spirit World from the Station of the Cross studios every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, right here on the Guadalupe Radio Network.
Hello, I'm Joshua Stayfish, a member of Mater Dei Parish in Irving and a new sponsor here at KATH 910 AM. I'm the co-owner of Absolute Painting. We serve customers throughout the DFW Metroplex, help them with home improvement projects, both interior and exterior, along with painting, drywall, foundation repairs, and other projects, large and small. I welcome your opportunity to prepare an estimate for your next project. You can find us at absoluteptg.com or by phone and text at 972-375-5100.
Are you grieving the loss of a loved one? St. Monica Church in Dallas will be starting their grief support group again this January. They will have sessions in both English and Spanish. The English session will meet every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. starting January 25th. The Spanish session will be every Tuesday, also from 7 to 9 p.m. starting January 31st till April 4th. Come get the healing you need. Visit stmonicachurch.org. That's SAINT, monicachurch.org.
Hello, my name is Liz Martz. My husband Bill and I own MasterTech Auto Repair in Plano. We are proud sponsors of Catholic Radio. Our family has been parishioners of St. Gabriel's and McKinney for many years. MasterTech is a full-service auto repair for all vehicles, from oil changes to complete engine replacement or transmission service. We are located just across the street from St. Mark's Parish in Plano. You can contact us at 972-578-1841 or www.mastertechplano.com. Thank you, and may you have a blessed day.
Welcome to Back to the Father, a show about the journey of life focused on our final end, which is God Himself, our loving Father. And now, here's your host, Dave Palmer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Back to the Father here on the Guadalupe Radio Network social media sites. I am Dave Palmer, and we're glad you're with us. This is a program where we talk about some particular aspect of Thomistic philosophy as taught in the Summa Theologia by St. Thomas Aquinas, and we are broadcasting from the North Texas studio of the GRN. And so we do appreciate you tuning in to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or all three of them if you want to. And we also appreciate very much your comments. I see that Victor has already commented, so we love to know that you're out there, where you are, and also if you have any questions or comments during the course of the show. We always end with trivia, and so it's always kind of fun to try to challenge each other with some trivia questions at the very end of the program. All right, so that is me. The other members of the illustrious team here at Back to the Father include Cecil Anderson, fresh back from a trip to Houston, Texas.
Yes, very brief trip.
And you brought back a hat. Did you buy that in Houston?
I actually didn't. You know, I did bring back a hat from Houston, but I had gotten this one the week before, and so this one decided to get the highlight. So
how'd you possibly resist not wearing that one last Friday?
Because I got it after.
Oh.
So I got it on that Saturday. So my best friend's family and my family do a Secret Santa.
Oh.
And this year it was my best friend's parents that got me, and they had just been to Disney. And they heard something about me wearing hats every week. So they decided,
oh, is that right?
Yeah, that this was the hat that I'm now going to wear on the show.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar, it's Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. And
do you know who that is?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that makes two of us. Never heard of it. That's okay. No problem.
I'm in the wrong room.
Do you think, Diane, have you heard of Stitch, Lilo and Stitch? Okay, so
anyhow, but it's very fun because I got a little extra. Personally, I don't think I've looked so good in a hat in a long time.
Now, is this supposed to do that, or did you?
Yes, no, it's like a snap.
Oh, okay.
Because he's like a little alien.
Then you see the teeth.
Yeah, you see the teeth. So
yeah, very
anyhow.
nice. Okay, I bet Manny have probably
standards are high. Yeah, I bet Manny does know.
I just don't follow that stuff. I'm not a big Disney fan.
It came out in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Came out, and it has all Elvis music in the movie.
Well, at least you have an excuse. You probably weren't even born yet.
Yeah. Not until 2005.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Very good. Did you have a good time in Houston?
I did. It was a lot of fun. I was able to. I didn't get inside of the parish, but the Church of the Annunciation, or parish that's right there in downtown. I think we read the plaque outside. It was the second oldest church in Houston.
Wow.
So it was really cool. Wish I would have been able to get inside, but had not. It was.
You see John Bruce's comment?
No, I haven't seen.
He said Cecil has me in stitches, so he's heard of it.
I hope
apparently.
That's great. Thank you, John. I feel supported.
All right. So that's Cecil over there, not to be confused with William.
It's really hard to do that.
I know. Very, very different.
The only reason you can tell us apart is the hat.
Yeah, right. So how you doing, William? Welcome back.
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you were out last week at a speech
and debate tournament.
Okay,
yeah.
And you guys qualified for regionals?
We qualified for regionals in May, yeah.
Good. And which events were you in particular?
I did team policy debate and an after-dinner speech, which is basically just comedics type stuff. So.
You had to do funny stuff.
Yeah.
Tell some jokes?
Yeah, jokes. I didn't get far in that speech, but everyone else was better. But
yeah, there's an art in joke telling for sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us any jokes
from the speech?
Yeah, I mean you don't have to, but is any that you got some laughs on or?
Yeah, there were a lot of laughs. Yeah, I kind of based it off of a comedic monologue I gave at Mater Dei's talent show last year in August.
Okay,
so that's where I kind of based it off of.
Do you want to hit us with any of the jokes?
If I can
think about it. Think about it, and I'll introduce Diane, and then I'll come back. If you don't want to, no problem, because I don't want to start off the program.
That's all right. No, I'll think of one.
To be fair, we started the program with a Stitch hat. I think anything is going to be better than that.
I know. It's you got low expectations to follow. So, anyways, all right. Diane Xavier is on the other side of the glass. She produces the program. She answers phones. That's her voice. Every now and then, she kind of breaks in and has a comment, but otherwise, she's just kind of keeping us on the air. So, appreciate her very much. And again, good to have you. Don't be bashful about commenting, especially if you're new. Let us know where you're from, or even if you're returning. We love to know that you're out there. All right, the topic today. I hope this isn't too kind of like esoteric, out there.
That's why I'm wearing the hat.
Too abstract, just to make it kind of lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, lighten the mood.
Okay, so Jean-Paul Sartre was I would say, a very famous French philosopher who, this guy, I lived for 13 years of life while this guy was alive.
Everyone aggressively Googles his age.
Most of these philosophers are from so many years ago. He died in 1980.
Oh, wow.
Extremely influential for reasons that we're going to explain during the course of the program today. And he championed a certain model of existentialism that really caught on with a lot of people. It was very popular, especially for young people. And he was an atheist. He was a humanist. And his brand of existentialism, I think, continues to impact the culture in a big way today, and as you'll see as we go through this. Have you heard of it? Have you heard of him? Any?
I haven't heard of this philosopher. No. The philosophers I'm most familiar with are like Aristotle, Plato, John Locke, like Thomas Aquinas, those ones. But no, I have never heard of this philosopher.
All right. Well, after
Look
today,
forward to
you will
it.
have. Yeah. Okay. Have you heard of existentialism?
Maybe like once or twice, but like I haven't done a deep dive into it, so I'm also looking forward to that as well.
You're about to, yeah. And how about you, Sissel? Have you heard of him? Heard of existentialism?
Yes.
Oh, you have? Okay.
I have, yeah. I think we touched on it on a previous show a while ago. I think pre-William.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did talk.
Pre-William.
Brilliant. There's pre-William, post-William. No, there's not post-William. Don't ever leave us. No.
All right.
We are currently in the year of William.
No, yeah. And just to kind of complete my small sample study, Diane, have you ever heard of Jean-Paul Sartre or existentialism? Just go ahead.
I think I've heard of I
That
don't know how to pronounce it.
That one.
Existentialism,
Same,
but not
Diane.
All right. And how about those of you out there watching? Just kind of let me know.
We should have done the survey for Stitch.
Any familiarity with existentialism, Jean-Paul Sartre? Because I think you're going to find it pretty fascinating. But let's go ahead and get into it so we can have time to get in on it. So, all right. So the first slide that has his picture on it shows you a picture of Jean-Paul Sartre. And you rarely ever see a picture of Jean-Paul Sartre where he's smiling. He's normally smoking. He seemed like a pretty serious guy.
I'm sorry. Are there a lot of pictures of philosophers smiling?
Well,
now that I think about it, I don't really feel like I see him a lot.
I don't know.
I mean, you just made it sound like, not a picture of him smiling, and I was like, do we have lots of pictures?
But back in the day, like
people didn't smile.
They didn't smile because it took forever to take a picture. You
Right.
know, those old pictures where they had to stand still. They're not going to.
None of that.
Be like this. But I mean, the guy lived to be into the 1980. I mean, certainly.
Wow.
And I'm not saying there isn't I bet you I could find a picture of him smiling, but generally he was a pretty serious guy, and also trying to make a point because I don't think his philosophy ultimately made him very happy. So born in 1905, died in 1980, and as you can see here, French atheist philosopher, author, and humanist. His famous book includes Being and Nothingness. That was his most famous. Okay, why are you laughing?
I'm having an idea of why doesn't smile very often.
Being and Nothingness.
Yes,
I know. Well, it was a kind of a dark type of philosophy that he had. Okay, Existentialism is a Humanism is another one of his books. All right, so get this. Okay, now imagine you're a young. Well, you guys don't have to imagine. You are. So imagine you're young. Okay, and you hear this kind of philosophy, and would this be appealing to you? Okay, he believed in the essential freedom of individuals, and that as free beings, human beings are responsible for all elements of their lives, including their consciousness and their actions. That is total freedom, total responsibility. So far, so good? Yeah, I mean, hey, what's wrong with that, right? So we're...
A little pressure, but
Now, why'd you say that?
Because it sounds a little bit like too much pressure.
Why?
Because
that's exactly what he's going to say.
Oh.
Is that there's too much pressure.
Oh.
Okay, so go run with it.
Okay.
Wow. Why was it too much pressure?
Where should I run?
Explain. Why did you think that was
because
like kind of pressure?
I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but it was something like that everything was like our responsibility. Everything was our own. Obviously, like our actions are our own, but there's a lot of other elements I think that kind of go into it. It just seemed like we had absolutely no outside help or, guidance. It was just simply like you are.
Yeah, and you had to create yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so
good heavens, I'm just trying to figure out the self that I have was created for me.
I know. So now look at this next line. This is one of his most famous lines from Being and Nothingness. He said, "We are condemned to be free." Okay, so what so just keep that in mind. Okay, we create ourselves. Now think about it today, where men, I'm putting air quotes around this, but men can become women and women can become men, and 13-year-old girls can become cats and furries, and I mean think about it. We've gotten to a point in the culture where it's just absolute lunacy.
I was asked recently what I thought about furries while I was in a public place, and that was an experience.
Really? What'd you say?
A little weird.
Yeah, but it's a real thing.
It was the man who was taking my
I don't know
skate,
if
so it was
furries, enter into the homeschool realm. Maybe they do, but I can tell you, I have very, very good sources telling me that at schools, people are showing up saying, I'm a wolf. I mean, seriously, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
It's because of people like Jean-Paul Sartre. As you hear about him, I mean, seriously, he didn't teach that, but it's a logical result of the philosophy of people like Jean-Paul Sartre. Okay, so we create ourselves. So the next
we should not have that responsibility.
I know, but he saw it as a great burden,
right?
Okay, because it created a lot of anxiety because we're told. I said on CDT this morning that it's kind of like showing up for the first day on a job and them just saying, "Have at it." And there's no mentor, there's no boss, nobody telling you what to do or how to do it. You're just you got to create yourself from nothing.
Yeah, I feel like it also, and this is just my opinion, but I feel like it also comes a lot from as I'm like studying philosophy and thinking about it. One of our resolutions in Lincoln Douglas debate is talking about the right to private property over the economic interest of the community. And something when people argue private property, they like to bring up John Locke a lot. As I've studied this resolution, I've kind of realized that John Locke really strays a lot from like philosophers like Aristotle and Aquinas. Like it's like this very like new type of philosophy about freedom and liberty and property, but it kind of like takes away from the monarchy like type sense that Aquinas had. So it's very different. I feel like this is kind of, the same thing that Jean-Paul Sartre is basing it off of, is like freedom to do whatever you want, but that's not really how it goes, and that's not what the ancient philosophers really taught.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all.
Like straying a lot from the.
Oh yeah. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, this next line, the last bullet point here says the conflict between oppressive, spiritually destructive conformity and an authentic way of being became the dominant theme of Sartre's early work. So he saw the church as being, very oppressive, God as being oppressive. He didn't believe in God. He was an atheist. But I think ultimately it kind of backfired on him. Okay, so the next page says Sartre's theory of existentialism states that existence precedes essence. That it is only by existing and acting a certain way do we give meaning to our lives. According to him, there is no fixed design or purpose of how a human being should be, and there exists no God to give human beings or anything else a purpose. All
Way
right?
to send people into a depressive spiral. You actually, there's nothing to your life.
I know, but what if somebody were to say, you can just be, you create yourself into whatever you want. I mean, you can make yourself, which I think what is this? The metaverse is kind of going towards that. What is it called? Where you can go into another world. Oh, what
the fourth dimension?
No, there's something that they're pushing right now.
Oh, I'm not.
Oh, what
I
is
feel
it
like I know
called?
what you're talking
You know what I'm
about.
talking about?
No, sorry.
Where, like you can you're creating your own reality.
Oh, virtual reality kind of stuff?
Yeah, but it's got a name. Somebody out there help me.
Somebody save Dave.
Yeah, because I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name either.
Yeah, somebody's going to... Yeah, multiverse.
Multiverse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Victor.
Oh, the multiverse. I think of
so the multiverse,
comics.
from what I understand, is that, if I want to be, the king of England or a 5'3", Asian woman or a... anything. You create your own reality. It's whatever you want to be. That's what you become in this world, and that's what is kind of being pushed right now. That's the multiverse, from my understanding.
But in reality, it's just a fantasy. I mean, if you're not really that thing, if you're not really the queen or king of England, then you're living in a fantasy. That's why it's kind of messed up.
But what if you were to tell a furry that they're not really a wolf, they're a human being? They would say, no, I am a wolf. I mean, seriously, the furries believe that they are a cat or a dog or a monkey, right? I mean, they're not just pretending.
Right, but I would contend, why do they think that when they don't look like one? I mean, they look like a human being. Like, if I saw them, I'd be like,
does like a guy who thinks that he's a girl.
I know.
He doesn't look like a girl usually, at least when he's starts it out, thinking trying to look like a girl. But
yeah, when people, there's a lot of people who, quote, transition that you're like, man, dude, you look very much like a dude.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, because in their mind, they're women. But they're not. But so, I mean, anyways, I really do think that somebody like Sartre, although I don't think he would have said, this is where I want this to go.
No.
But I think when you start messing with essence.
Yes.
And if you see here, he says, existence precedes essence, which means like in a Christian worldview, you and me and Sissel and Diane, we were born human beings. And we were born with a certain design and certain inclinations, and also, Aristotle and Aquinas would say we are directed towards God. Okay, so we have a desire for God that develops, of course, as we get older, and so it's classic teleology where things are being kind of moved along like a duck flying south in the winter or an ant building a mound. They're just kind of programmed in a certain way to do certain things. Well, we're not programmed ultimately like that, but we are. We do have through our human nature a certain predisposition to seek God, to love God, to desire goodness and beauty, and so there's certain things that are just part of us that we can't control. Okay, like Aristotle and Aquinas would say, we all seek to be happy, we all seek goodness. But I don't think Jean-Paul Sartre would believe that. He would say that we're born kind of like a blank slate. We exist, but in the essence, who we become or who we are is totally up to us. And that's why I was curious with Sissel's point of saying the pressure, because he acknowledged that. He said that's what creates anxiety.
Well, because if you think about it, even if you're like a blank slate, I think some people, because it is, like you mentioned, we're all, the whole point is we're going to be drawn back to God. We all have that imprint on our hearts. We know that there's a certain person that we're supposed to become. And so if you're saying that you're a blank a blank canvas, what if you make a mistake on that way and you don't become, you know what I mean? There's like a whole little thing that you can go on in your brain. Like, that's why I think a lot of people today really struggle with their identity.
But you say you make a mistake.
But
you can't really make a mistake.
Right. But the thing is that, but even if they think, okay, what I'm trying to say is that hold on, let me see if I can word this properly. Because everyone does does feel a call towards God, even if they don't recognize what that is, they will feel off if they don't reach that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You would kind of talk about that a little bit on your show today, weren't you? About how the expectations that we have of ourselves, of becoming something. So anyways, does God implant purpose in us? Is there a certain purpose, a certain kind of meaning in the human life? Okay, I think a Christian would say yes. Yeah. Our purpose is to unite with God. Our purpose is to live a life of virtue. We're naturally good. But Sartre wouldn't say that. He wouldn't say there's anything there's no nature. There's no such thing as a human nature that you and I share. It's that you create yourself, I create myself, Sissel creates herself, to be whatever we want. In fact, let me go on here. Sartre was influenced by the ideas of famous German philosophers like Immanuel Kant, Georg Hegel, Friedrich Nietzsche, Martin Heidegger. He had a relationship with Simone de Beauvoir. I hope I pronounced that right. He lived in an open relationship with her for 50 years. They never married. They never had kids. They had like other partners, and so it was just very much kind of free love. Well, she is a philosopher in her own right, and she wrote a book called The Second Sex. When she was a feminist, and her famous quote is, "A woman is not born a woman. She becomes a woman." Okay, now think about that in light of modern day.
Oish.
Okay, so now you might say, "Oh, you're not born a woman, you're born a girl," but that isn't what she meant. She meant a woman becomes a woman. She creates herself as a woman as she gets older. So she took Jean-Paul Sartre's philosophy and then kind of transferred it over to feminism.
What about men then? What are they born?
Well, I mean, she wasn't interested in men.
Clearly. Well, I mean, but that's
she's
only,
a feminist.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know, but then that's only half the your philosophy is only for half the mankind here.
I mean, she probably would have said the same thing about men,
Okay.
but she had a lot of pretty radical ideas about how, something like she would say that a man. Oh gosh, I was reading a lot of her quotes the other day. She very, very much thought we lived in a chauvinistic world where a man was kind of like already knew his identity, and men kind of know who they are and they're men, but women have to have a harder time defining who they are because they aren't as respected in the culture and that kind of thing. It's pretty interesting.
Considering this, let's see.
You turned your hat around.
Oh, I did, yeah, because I wanted to
Okay.
keep my bangs out of my face.
All right, so
now I just have ears.
any comments out there? Don't want to ignore the peeps who are watching. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Victor
Yes.
looks like he's commented a couple of times.
Yes.
Anything else?
Earlier when you were talking about like the things about the furries and transitioning, he says it's about the feelings, not necessarily how they actually look. So they really will just completely diminish the look aspect of things. It's just how they feel inside.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's Sartre. Create yourself, but he did, this quote that I mentioned a moment ago, where we are condemned to be free. All right. So I think that's the kind of the key there. Is that
What a negative Nancy.
We have freedom, but it creates anxiety because it's all up to us. It is like the guy showing up for work and there's nobody there to help him. So let's compare that to our friend St. Thomas Aquinas, and a few slides here. And the first one, you see that beautiful sunrise and the plains or the fields out in front of it, right? So Thomas says the ultimate beatitude of man consists in the use of his highest function, which is the operation of his intellect. If we suppose that the created intellect could never see God, it would either never attain to beatitude, or its beatitude would consist in something else besides God, which is opposed to faith. For there resides in every man a natural desire to know the cause of any effect which he sees, and thence arises wonder in men. And if the intellect of the rational creature could not reach so far as the first cause of things, the natural desire would remain void. So the reason I put this one up here is that we see beauty every day, okay? And somebody like Sartre, if you don't believe in God and you see something like this, I mean, what do you even think? It's just like, oh, that's pretty. I mean, but for a Christian, it as Thomas mentions here, it creates wonder and it creates curiosity and it creates a desire to learn more about where this came from because it's an effect of a great cause. Okay, so that would be lacking in a philosophy of somebody like Sartre. The next slide talks about the Blessed Trinity, because if we acknowledge that we have intellect, we have will, which I think everybody just naturally believes that they do, our God is intellect, our God is will. Okay, so, and then it's also a communion of persons, which is pretty awesome. And then this next one that has the ducks up on the top, do you see that? Okay. It says whether this one, you see the slide with the ducks, whether it is proper to the rational nature to act for an end. Okay, so now we're talking about teleology. It's about acting for an end. And let me just read this real quickly. Every agent of necessity acts for an end. Okay, would Sartre believe that? Would he believe that we're acting for an end?
No.
But I wonder what he would say about like an ant or I think he probably would acknowledge that ants do. And
Well, yeah, because ants don't each have to reinvent the wheel of how to survive.
yeah,
you know?
but who implanted that in the
Yeah,
ants
exactly.
then?
Well,
What do you say? I mean,
you should have asked him these questions, Dave. You're the only one who crossed over with his lifetime.
I know. That's how we get our ratings up. If some of these people would like come back from the dead and join us on the show, right? Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Back to the Father,
For real.
featuring Sartre.
Okay, so he says it must be observed that a thing tends to an end by its action or movement in two ways. First, as a thing moving itself to the end, as man. Secondly, as a thing moved by another to the end, as an arrow tends to a determinate end through being moved by the archer who directs his action to the end. Okay, so this is where I think Aquinas and Sartre might agree a little bit. Those things that are possessed of reason move themselves to an end because they have dominion over their actions through their free will, which is the faculty of will and reason. Okay, so Thomas is admitting that we move ourselves to an end. Okay, isn't that kind of what Sartre's saying?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, but what's the difference?
The difference is that there's a very specific end we're moving towards, and we're not like alone on that, and that we're actually born with some identity.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
See, you're like the master philosopher here.
Oh, baby, it's a stitch hat, man.
But then it says, but those things that lack reason tend to an end by natural inclination, as being moved by another and not by themselves, since they do not know the nature of an end as such, and consequently cannot ordain anything to an end, but can be ordained to an end only by another. And I wonder if, like, Calvinists or double predestinationists kind of believe that that's what we are being, if there's no free will, are we like the ducks and the ants and just kind of being moved along, like chess pieces on a board that just being moved by something else? I mean, this is a pretty fundamental question about how are we moved to an end? And Sartre would say we just create it. We created ourselves.
Huh.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know, Sartre, man. I don't think this is gonna fly.
Okay, so for the entire irrational nature is in comparison to God as the instruments to the principal agent. Consequently, it is proper to the rational nature to tend to an end as directing and leading itself to the end, whereas it is proper to the irrational nature to tend to an end as directed or led by another, whether it apprehend the end as do irrational animals or do not apprehend it, as the case with those things which are altogether void of knowledge. So in some sense here, like the Sartre and Aquinas are like, okay, we are, in charge of our own destiny. We have free will. We can choose, this path or that path. But with Sartre, there's no God. There's it's almost like there's no end. You're not moving towards anything. You're just creating yourself for what purpose? Mm-hmm. And that's why he never smiles in pictures.
Yeah, honestly, we've unlocked that one. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, all right. So last slide here says, okay, whether man wills all, whatever he wills for the last end. Okay. So I think this is kind of the distinction. Man must of necessity desire all, whatever he desires for the last end. Okay, so this is the distinction, because there wasn't a last end for Sartre. There is no finish line. There's nothing that you're moving towards. This is evident for two reasons. First, because whatever man desires, he desires it under the aspect of good. And if he desire it not as his perfect good, which is the last end, he must of necessity desire it as tending to the perfect good, because the beginning of anything is always ordained to its completion, as it is clearly the case in effects both of nature and of art. Okay, so if Jean-Paul Sartre is looking at a sunrise or a sunset or anything beautiful, certainly he would have acknowledged beauty. I mean, don't you think like beauty is universal? I mean,
I don't know why he never got married to the lady though, because like if he would have just been like, oh, she's not, I can't say she's beautiful or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I bet you he would have acknowledged beauty.
He had to have in some way.
See, but the difference is that to the Christian, when we see something beautiful, it's it's like a participation of a ultimate beauty. Okay, so it's like it's leading us somewhere, and it's not an end to itself. And so there's meaning in the sunrise. I have a hot fudge sundae on this picture.
There's a lot of meaning in that hot fudge sundae.
I know, but so the hot fudge sundae, we're drawn to it, but it's not an end to itself. It's something that's like, okay, well, what is it that I didn't ask to be drawn to that. So why am I drawn to that? What is goodness? What's ultimately good? And that is what I think profoundly is the difference between somebody like Sartre and Aquinas or even Aristotle, is that there's no meaning. There's nothing in the world would have meaning if it's an end to itself.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the last part here, wherefore every beginning of perfection is ordained to complete perfection, which is achieved through the last end. Secondly, because the last end stands in the same relation in moving the appetite as the first mover in other movements. Now, it is clear that secondary moving causes do not move save in as much as they are moved by the first mover. Therefore, secondary objects of the appetite do not move the appetite except as ordained to the first object of the appetite, which is the last end. So what he's getting at here is why are we drawn to anything in the first place? I mean, why do we have appetites? Why do we have desires? Why do we have will? What's the drawing force?
That does bring up an interesting point, because I wish he was here. I could ask him questions. Like, if he's saying that you're kind of inventing yourself, wouldn't that include what you're interested in, not interested in, what you like and what you don't like?
Yeah, but that's not.
But the thing is that as a kid, kids are drawn to certain things. They want certain things. Even if they maybe ultimately don't like it. Like, sometimes kids want to grab their parents' cup of coffee, and they're like, "Oh no, that's actually really disgusting." Or you're like my sister and really loved it and was drinking coffee at a young age. but that kind of stuff. There are certain things at a young age that, like, the little kids see, like a waterfall or a butterfly, and they're like, "Oh, that's so cool. That's so beautiful. So pretty." Like, does he not?
Yeah.
Think that
right, which they didn't ask for, right?
Right. They didn't. It's not like the kids. He sat there and like, do I like butterflies or don't I like butterflies?
Yeah.
He just saw it and was like, oh, butterfly.
Exactly. So that it's implanted in us.
So does he just not remember those years of his life at all?
It's like,
or has he never been around a kid?
William at some point in his life said, "I'm interested in debate." Okay. You at some point in your life said you're interested in filmmaking. Okay, but another person they have no interest in debate, or somebody has interest in baseball or stamp collecting, or in my case, I love snakes. I love reptiles. But at no point in my life did I say, I decide that I like reptiles. It was in me. It was just something.
Yeah.
And at the same time, no, I never said, from this moment forward, I decide that I like hot fudge sundaes. Or I decide that I like, carne all meat pizza. And that's what I'm trying to get at here is, where does that come from? And it's not exactly the same for all people, but there are certain things that are universal, like the desire for food, the desire for water, the desire for beauty. I think everybody, it may not all be the same beauty, but we all desire goodness and happiness. And so what Sartre would have to say, there's no universals. There's nothing that we all have in common as human beings.
So weird.
Yeah.
I really think, I've said this before, I feel like about other philosophers too, is that they really just needed to be around people more. Like, it sounds really bad, but like he needed to be around little kids a lot. He needed to, experience maybe marrying a lady and actually like getting experience of like family and home life. Or just get a hug sometimes. Like, who was the pessimistic guy? The guy who was like,
Arthur Schopenhauer.
Yes, he just needed a hug, women. Man. He just needed a hug.
But also, if you look into these people's past,
they're
it's
usually
very interesting.
really rough.
Like his father abandons him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what I'm saying, is that
that.
so you start building up this whole thing, and it's just like, well, okay, but have you experienced life in a different way outside of what you?
Yeah. So, and so, but I think in the the 50s and the 60s, when Jean-Paul Sartre was really gaining a lot of popularity, and you had the sexual revolution going on, and a lot of tension between the sexes, and feminism was really rearing. I think this philosophy was appealing to a lot of people, as I said before, because in some ways, it's kind of fun to think, I'd like to create myself in who I want to be, and I don't want that, I don't want something imprinted in me where I'm forced to go a certain direction.
Yeah.
I want to be who I want to be.
Yeah. It all goes back to the freedom thing, but no one is absolutely free to do whatever they want. Like freedom is limited. Liberty in and of itself is limited to a society. So
yeah,
I think that's what it kind of comes down to from the earlier slides that you showed us.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's Jean-Paul Sartre. It's also interesting, as I mentioned before. Hey, Mark Lowe is joining us. Some of these guys look like toads. Is he talking about Sartre?
I think, toads though, right? Maybe they didn't like women because women ran from them. Sorry.
And the interesting thing is these guys, a lot of these philosophers knew each other, and they would go to, and I've always dreamed like a few years ago I was in Vienna, Austria, right? I didn't realize at that time that Vienna was a very, very popular city for philosophers. Okay, you had a guy like Ludwig Wittgenstein, if you ever heard of him. He was Austrian, and they had this thing called the Vienna Circle. And they would get together. It's kind of like, where C.S. Lewis and Tolkien used to hang out. And so Jean-Paul Sartre was, they're not like total loners where they're in a vacuum.
Sure.
But they do sit around at cafes and smoke cigarettes and talk and I don't know. I mean, that's where a lot of these ideas are born, and they throw things. And a lot of them were taught by each other. And you'll say, "Oh, this person was a student." Like, well, Aristotle was a student of Plato. And Plato knew Socrates, and so it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, so that's that. Adrian was asking me this morning about some of Sartre's influences, because he wasn't the first existentialist.
Right.
Martin Heidegger was an existentialist, and he also was a Nazi, Martin Heidegger. Do you know that?
Nice.
I mean, and Soren Kierkegaard was...
Was he considered an existentialist a little bit? Interesting.
He actually wrote a book called Fear and Trembling.
That's right, yeah.
Which is the name of CDT's little...
He stole it from CDT. No,
yeah, right. Well, Fear and Trembling is in Scripture, right?
Yeah,
work out your salvation with Fear and Trembling. So St. Paul was the first
Didn't
one.
Kierkegaard still consider himself a Christian, though?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, very good. Yeah, he maintained his Christianity. And a lot of them, in fact, were. I mean, Descartes was a Catholic Christian, and some of these guys just kind of went off the walls, and the church was repressing a lot of this stuff at the time, and I think maybe for good reason.
Yeah.
That'd be a good debate sometime, is whether the church should still have a forbidden book index, like they used to, where you're not allowed to read this.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Good LD resolution, maybe.
Yeah. But Aristotle used to be on that list. They did back in the 13th century.
Wow.
Aquinas kind of like was studying Aristotle when he shouldn't, and he was being a little bit of a bad boy.
Wow.
But yeah, the
being
church
a little rebel over there.
Yeah, the doctor of the church, Mr. Rebel.
It's interesting that what this Sartre's philosophy makes me think about a lot is in the Protestant circles that I ran in particular. It's a lot about you get to a certain age and you have to kind of read the Bible and decide what you believe, sort of idea, and you build your religion almost to an extent. That's at least what I felt when I was in Sunday school, because a lot of the people who were older and teachers there would talk about, oh yes, well when I was 17, I decided I really needed to. They had to, come to faith moment. I had to decide what I believe. And he was like, yeah, my one teacher said, I read the book of Romans and I decided that I really fell into this church category. And I was like, man, that's a lot of pressure also.
Yeah,
I remember
you got to kind of create yourself.
Yeah, you have to create it. And that's what it's interesting, because obviously the Protestant Reformation happened before Sartre, but it's something I think that's still kind of prevalent. It almost leans that way in some circles.
Yeah, and to some degree it could go the opposite direction as well, because I can imagine a parent saying, well, because you're a girl, you have to play with dolls, you have to, you're not gonna play soccer, that's the kind of a programming of.
That's why I think that as young people, especially at some point, you have to go from this was my parents' religion to I am owning this faith my own, you know? I'm not just going to go to Mass because my parents go to Mass or my parents make me go to Mass. You have to say, I believe this. I have a developed relationship with Jesus, that sort of thing. It's just, you don't also have to reinvent the wheel because that's a lot.
Yeah. So interesting. So that's that. That's Jean-Paul Sartre, and I don't know. I find him interesting and but problematic in many ways. So,
Yeah, well.
Any other comments from anybody before we move on to the next and very different phase of our program here? It looks like
It's now time to speak now or forever hold your Reese's Pieces.
Speaking of Reese's Pieces, did you hear about what M&M's did?
No.
Wait, the green M&M thingy?
Well, I guess all the M&M colors are attached to like a character. Like the yellow is somebody and the brown is somebody.
I think I did hear about this.
Well, they just put out an all-female bag of M&Ms. So I guess half of the colors are female.
Oh, we're female. Yeah, because I guess when they do little commercials, I guess some of them have eyelashes.
Yeah, right. So they kick the men out of the bag.
Which, by the way, when did we decide that eyelashes was signifying for a woman, like having really long eyelashes? Because there's a lot of guys who have much prettier eyelashes than me.
Well, my daughters are jealous of my son's eyelashes.
Yes, there are some little
my
boys.
son has these beautiful eyelashes.
My eyelashes kind of stick straight out. They don't really curl. They just are not really there, you know. And so when I see certain people, I'm like, how did you get these eyelashes? I did not inherit these.
Yeah. Boy, that was a turn of the conversation there about eyelashes. But then again, I'm talking about M&Ms.
Well, we were talking about debating the gender of the the M&Ms. That's so funny though. But why does it matter? Why do we need a bag of all female?
Yeah, because it's all about they put the female characters upside down, and they said this is for all the women who are turning stereotypes upside down or something.
Every single one we could spin it upside down.
So it's called wokeness.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay,
By the way, as soon as we started talking about M&Ms, we jumped up in viewership a little bit. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
We need to talk about M&Ms more often, apparently.
People are like, whoa, they're talking about M&Ms. All right, so let's go ahead and transition, so to speak.
Can I do the other thing that I said that? Oh, never mind. It's that time of the show.
You want to do about the car raffle? Is that right?
Yes. And the trivia thing.
All right.
I couldn't recover.
Talk about the car raffle. Did we sell any tickets through this mention last week?
I don't know if we did, but I am going to mention it again in hopes that we do, and in extra hopes that maybe one of our viewers wins the car.
Yeah.
So, in case you don't know, the Guadalupe Radio Network is doing I need to stop touching this thing. Is doing its car raffle right now, and it is going to end in February. The drawing is on February 24th. This year we're raffling off a 2023 Mercedes-Benz CLA 250 Coupe. Although there's some confusion about that because it's 4 doors, not 2 doors. The whole thing. And then it's in the color polar white. It's very, very snazzy looking. That's the word I use to describe cars when I don't understand anything else about them.
Snazzy.
It's snazzy. And tickets are 1 for $25 or 5 for $100 or anything between and above. We do not put limits on your generosity. And of course, you have a chance to win this.
I love that.
We have a chance to win a really, really cool car, but you have a guarantee to support Catholic radio. So if you would like to support us in this video.
You got those lines down,
I
don't
am
you?
practicing. I'm doing my first parish talks this weekend, so I have to practice.
We're not going to put any limit on your generosity. No, ma'am, you're being way too generous. Please stop.
Put the $10,000 away. All right, I'm going to link the where you can get them online. I'm going to, and you can always buy them there. You can also email Dave or I as well if you want to get them through us.
All right. So if you win the car and then we get to do the first official interview with you during Back to the Father, that'd be so cool.
And if you do win from our show, buying from our show, you do have to come and pick us up for a ride. Okay. There's also, I'm going to write that on the back of the car. It's like as a
yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. So when the show started, William did not have trivia. Is that to continue to be the case?
That is correct. But if you would like, I can give you that joke now from my speech.
Oh, yes,
that's right.
Even better. I love jokes even more.
See how ADD I am? I say, hey, we'll come back to you. Then I just totally forgot. Yeah. All right. So
we did come back.
And the fact that you brought it up means you must think this is a pretty good joke.
I would hope so.
All right.
We'll see what you guys think.
All right. Okay, hit us.
Okay, so this speech was based off of a topic I thought up back in August or something like that about engaging more in conversation online, right? Because, usually someone will send you a really long message and you might reply with like a one-worded answer like, yep. Does that happen a lot? So, like, I'm one of those people that send really long text messages, and I get one-worded answers to almost all messages I get. So I made this joke in the middle of my speech, and I said, "So guys, this is how we can engage more in conversation." That was my first point. How do we engage more in conversation? And I said, we can start by doing this. We can ask questions, and then I proceeded to say, ask questions to engage conversation, like, how are you doing? What's going on in life? How's your mom? How's your wife? How's your kids? How's your grandkids? What's your social security number? And where do you live? Which should lead to even more questions like, why are you being so creepy right now? And how'd you get into my house?
How'd you get into my house? So you told that one.
Yeah, everyone got a kick out of it.
Got some laughs.
Yeah, that was like that was probably like their favorite part. They really liked that.
Yeah, it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, basically.
Would you wait? They wait for that one till the end, or
No. It was like in my first point towards the end of my first point. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Very nice.
well done.
Thank you.
I'm okay with William brings a joke a week.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No trivia, just a joke.
A joke, but it has to be really.
Okay.
I might do that then.
I told last week the dad joke, but you weren't here. No, don't say it.
Was
where
last week?
Was it the one that I?
Okay. No, I wasn't here last week.
Okay. Well, where are all dad jokes kept?
I have no idea.
In a database.
See, the thing is, everyone makes fun of me in the hats. Like.
Okay. All right. So do you have trivia?
I do have trivia. By the way, Monica joined us, and so did Forrest.
Oh wow!
So
hey,
happy to see them
welcome.
back.
Do they just come for the trivia?
Just come for the trivia. That's like...
It's just like, I don't want that Aquinas stuff. Maybe we start with trivia and then go into Aquinas.
There we go.
Okay. Maybe we don't bring out the hat until the end.
I think the hat's the only reason people come, Dave. No, I'm joking. No, I have to put Stitch back the right way. I'm still very sad that see, if y'all had known who Stitch was, I would have gone into an impression of him, but it's going to mean nothing to you. So,
okay.
All right. Am I starting first?
Yeah, you're going first.
For my trivia today, it's called I Had No Flipping Idea, so it's random Catholic facts.
Okay. Cool.
It was originally going to be Catholic American facts, but I found some other ones that I thought were interesting, so I kind of broadened my. I went universal with it.
Okay, so how are we doing this? We just shout out the answer?
It's going to be yes. Whoever gets the answer first.
Yeah, how many are there?
There's 12.
12, okay.
Okay. Where in the United States of America was the first Catholic diocese established? I will accept city or state.
St. Augustine, Florida.
No.
What?
Boston, Massachusetts.
Virginia.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Somewhere in Florida.
No. Providence, Rhode Island.
New York.
Nope.
Washington, D.C.
Nope.
Vermont.
Arlington, Virginia.
Maine.
Okay, we give up.
Wow, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore. Okay.
Yeah, in 1789.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. Yeah. If you have any problems with this, you can research it yourself.
There's no problem.
Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. If you have any problems, you're a little defensive there, Sissel. Nobody said anything.
Listen, my family's very competitive, and it gets quite violent.
If you have any problem with this, you can no, we're good.
Anytime my family does,
say anything.
Yeah, a good guess is everyone was guessing like New Hampshire, Philadelphia, and Massachusetts. Close, guys. Everyone was close.
Okay. Oh, so they're playing along?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
All right.
0-0, by the way, William.
Okay, this is again focusing on the United States for this one. Roughly, how many patients a year do Catholic healthcare institutions serve?
Oh, come
how are we
on.
supposed to know that?
I'm going to give you a range of
6 million.
That's yours? I'll give you a range of like 10 million. Close.
A range of 10 million. Okay.
So you might want to go higher,
Dave. I'm going to say 50 million.
Okay.
I'll say around 70 million.
Ooh, 80 million.
Oh,
Go, William.
man.
Okay.
That means that William's on the board for a point.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us.
You're welcome.
I think that's pretty obvious.
Also, did you know how many, this is just kind of a random side thing, that Catholic hospitals constitute more than 10% of all hospitals in the country?
I would have thought it would have been higher than that.
Yeah, I would have thought so too. Again, can be fact checked.
I'm not impressed.
All right. This is a true or false one, okay?
Oh,
okay.
Okay, cool.
True or false?
False.
All right. Good job. No, let's see. The Catholic Church is the largest charitable organization in the
True.
U.S. Yes.
I was going to say true, but
Yeah.
you got it. Tied.
William's like, I'm going to throw the old man a bone here. I'm going to let him guess.
I was going to say, William, we got to be faster here.
Okay.
All right. Who was the first pope.
Peter.
St. Peter.
Excuse me. The first pope of the early church not to be recognized as a saint.
Oh.
Oh, my goodness. Well, he couldn't have been that big of a deal. He wasn't recognized.
Was it
Sylvester?
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
William.
Alexander the Seventh?
Okay, he's very specific there. Alexander the Seventh. No, it was. Hold on a second, where I lost him. Pope Liberius from AD 352 to 66. Now, I was trying to remember if he was the one who was the first one who also stepped down. One of the other ones that stepped down. So anyhow, I didn't have a chance to look that up. All right, this is another true or false. St. Patrick was an Irishman.
False.
Oh, Dave.
He was British.
He was British.
Yeah.
Good job.
I was going to say true, but...
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no, he's definitely not Irish.
Okay.
He lived in Ireland. But he visited Ireland and then went back, but he was not. He was from the coast of England.
Yeah, he was from Britain. All right.
Thank you.
Another true or false. Another true or false. Ready?
Okay. What's the score?
Dave 2, William 1.
Okay.
Seminary education for priests was not actually standard until after the Council of Trent. True or false?
True.
Very good. I don't know how to... I think Dave...
You can give it to William.
Oh. William takes...
Tie us up the score.
Dave just wants a more dramatic game.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Where today is the chapel where St. Joan the Arc prayed in? Where is it located?
Paris.
Where today? Today. Where is it located?
Today.
Right at this very second, assuming nothing weird happened.
I said
Rome.
You said Paris, Rome?
I said
want to see if
Paris.
I want to wait a second for some people to type because I'm curious to know if anyone knows this because you're both wrong, by the way. In case you were wondering.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Anyone answering? No, yeah, she prayed in. So it was I think it was the one where she was praying.
How about Lyon, France? Tours.
No, it's not France.
It's not France.
Not France. Italy somewhere?
Okay, no. So it's a chapel where St. Joan of Arc prayed is in Wisconsin. It was moved to the Marquette University campus.
But Marquette's in Michigan, isn't it?
No, I think Wisconsin. I think it's in Wisconsin.
I think you're right. I thought it was in Michigan. You're right. I think that might be a typo on here.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they moved it there. So
Good for them.
So hey, Mark Lowe had guessed Arizona. He was, and then Forrest guessed New Orleans. So they were closer than you all were. I'll give them a point. All right. Okay. Before the year 1000, how many Pope Johns had there been?
I'm gonna say
15.
Pope John's. Okay.
Because there's been 23.
Yeah. So it wouldn't have been 23 by that time. So probably, I'm going to say 19.
19. And you said how many?
I said 15, but I'm going to bring mine down to 13.
It was 15.
Oh, I was right. Oh, gosh. Okay. I'm still closer.
All right, Dave.
All right, Boomer. Oh, it's true.
I know it is. Yeah. You were closer. You both weren't that far off, though. I was very impressed.
Yeah, but I was close. you were a little further off than me.
Dave tries to say I'm competitive. I just get stressed. Okay. Which was the Pope for the first? Which was the first Pope to be photographed?
So
it's going to be,
probably
more recent.
like in the late 1800s, Leo the 13th.
I was going to say Leo the 13th as well.
Do you want to give us a different answer? Or do you want to keep your answer? Which one do you want to do?
I must be wrong then.
Not necessarily.
Well, then why would he do a different answer?
I'm just saying. Because if you are wrong,
answer?
then you'd both be wrong. But if you're right,
Okay.
I mean, I'm thinking either it may have been the Pope before Leo the 13th, because I know cameras weren't invented until like the Civil War, maybe a little earlier. So
yeah, probably before him.
Yeah. So I don't know any of the. I can't think of any of the popes.
Forrest is down for Pius V. Victor's down for Leo. Any other guesses?
I'm gonna stay with Leo the 13th.
Okay. You're both wrong. It is Pius the Ninth.
Pius the Ninth.
Pius the Ninth.
Oh, so he's the one that did the Immaculate Conception.
Yes.
Which was 1854.
Right.
So I think it was towards the
Okay. Well, that would have been. Yeah. I should have guessed him. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Plus, I think I've seen a picture of him.
Okay, so I'm going to accept two different answers here, depending on which one you can get. So if you can state the oldest prayer for intercession for the Virgin Mary, and if you can't do that, maybe roughly the year it came about.
The oldest prayer of intercession.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to know if anyone knows this one.
The Hail Mary prayer?
I'll say 13th century. I don't know the prayer.
I would also have to say 13th century, but more specifically, probably
like St. Dominic.
Yeah, I'm gonna say maybe. I remember was St. Dominic around like 1250s or 1220s. I can't remember exactly.
Final answers?
I'll
I'm
say
going 13th century.
I'll say 1220.
Both went too late. It was in circa 250.
250.
And it's the prayer was simply beneath thy protection.
Beneath thy protection?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and so actually, I'd say Victor. Oh, Victor got the closest for sure. He did 325. So Victor gets a point.
All right. He's catching up with us.
And Forrest also thought that it was something earlier. Yeah. All right. Last two questions, and as it stands, William's 2, and Dave is at 3. So William could still win it all.
Yeah, but then he could lose by quite a bit.
All right,
He could go down in flames. But
okay, which Catholic university in America is the only school that is established with a papal charter?
Catholic University of America.
University of St. Mary's.
Catholic University of America.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So, William, you can no longer win at this point, but you can make it not as great of a win for Dave, okay?
Can I tie it?
You can't tie it.
No,
okay. No.
All right, the score is William 2, Dave 1, and we'll say put Victor on the board. Victor's at 1 as well.
Dave
all right,
4.
there are... Dave wanted to make sure we emphasize that.
You said 1.
Oh, did I say 1? I'm sorry. Okay. I'm going to again allow for a 3 number difference. There are this many archdioceses/dioceses in the U.S.
Diocese. How about just whoever gets closest?
Sure. But I was confident that y'all would nail it. No, I'm just kidding.
2,000. I'm going to go with 2,000.
2,000 dioceses?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, well, there's no way there's that many. I'm going to say...
got a 425 on the board. I've got a 1,500 on the board. I've got a 600 on the board.
2,000. Okay, now I'm going to say... well, there's only like 30 in Texas, I think.
Oh.
William's
okay.
I know. So I'm gonna. Okay, I may be wrong,
You can
but
guess again
I'm
if you
gonna
want to,
say.
William.
I'm gonna say 400.
Okay.
Okay, I'll say.
Guess
I'll say
it.
500. 500.
Dave, just barely you made it because it is 194.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
194. Okay.
Wow.
So
I was thinking more than that, but
Victor
okay.
almost snatched it because he was 425, but you went 400 last minute. So.
Okay. All
All right. So Dave 5, William 2.
All right.
Sorry
But
about that,
you
guys.
get another chance. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark's
I get a
sad.
chance every week.
Yeah, you get 2 chances every week.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my trivia is, since we were talking about Jean-Paul Sartre, this is French trivia.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Okay, so I don't know how many questions there are, but
Okay.
these would be, most of these are pretty easy. So it's just a matter of who gets them first.
Maybe-
Okay. What is the most visited country in the world?
France.
Yes.
Oh, thank God I got that.
I probably should not have said what I'm talking about. I should have-
Yeah.
Okay, so Sissel got it. Okay.
I was like,
Too
there's
easy.
no
Did you
way,
realize
right?
that's the most visited country in the world?
I did not
I did
think
not know that, but
Okay,
it makes sense, I
now,
guess.
some of these are real easy, so be quick.
So get
okay?
them now.
Yeah, some are a lot more challenging. What is the capital of France?
Paris.
Ooh.
I was spaced out. I was reading comments again. I need to stop doing that.
See, when she gets it, you don't make excuses for why you didn't get it, but Sissel does. Okay, who is the current president of France?
Emmanuel Macron.
Yes. All right.
Should have gotten the capital one.
Okay. Just whoever's closest. The population of France in millions.
Ooh.
In millions. Okay.
Whoever's closest.
Let me see how many Frances can fit in Texas.
France is about the size of Texas.
It's about the size.
And then,
about
but
the size.
also, but Paris is very populated, but there's a lot of countryside.
I'm going to say 29 million.
29, okay.
I'm going to go 60 million.
68 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 68 million. All right, we have you guys always have these like nail biter things, okay?
I was, purposely distracted by putting my hat on. And stuff.
What is the national motto of France?
We have the language of love. That's not my answer.
We have the meats. That's our. No, that's we have the meats. Okay. No,
I like how you hardly ever see an Arby's anywhere.
When I say this, you'll probably say, "Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense."
It's not going to be Veni Vidi Vici.
Vici.
Well, is it in French?
Yeah, but you can give the English part of it. I mean, yeah, you don't have to do it in French. Okay.
Hold on.
Let me think.
Wait.
Yeah, you will.
I'm sure. Okay, I'm going to be so annoyed. Frere Jacques, where are you?
Liberty, equality, fraternity.
Oh.
That was the call of the French Revolution, right?
I thought it was Vive Long, like, what is it? Oh, never mind.
2-2.
Okay.
All right. Is everybody else playing along at home? Okay. So, what are the three colors of the French flag?
Oh, blue, red, and white.
Okay.
I could have just said red, white, and blue, like how we said, but I had to I couldn't say it the same way we do it in America.
I know, that's right. Okay, France is the home of the largest art museum in the world. What's it called?
The Louvre.
The Louvre. All right.
My sister visited it.
William, you are
So did my
falling
brother,
behind.
actually.
It's 4-2. Thistle, okay? The very, very famous painting that's found at the Louvre.
The Mona Lisa.
Yes.
Both my siblings saw it. My brother was looking for. Can I tell a quick story? Willem was looking. My brother was looking for it, and he wasn't sure. Is it in a special room? I'm gonna have a hard time finding. He had very limited time, and so he's checking on his phone. And all of a sudden, he just looked up, and it was like right there.
Oh, really?
And he's like, "Oh,
it's small.
Yeah, it's small.
It's probably smaller
It's
than
small.
that thing right there.
And they have it on a big wall. And stuff.
Okay. Also, the Venus de Milo is there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the oldest person ever to have lived was a French woman by the name of Jean-Louise Calment. Whoever gets closest, how old was she when she died? The oldest person ever to live.
118.
118.
121.
122.
No!
Yeah.
Wow.
And
That was really good.
164 days. Okay.
Wow. Okay, we had what you said, 122? Victor got it.
Oh,
he did 122.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
And then Mark said 125, and then Forrest said 115.
All right. It is 5-3. Okay. Tissot it has a somewhat comfortable lead.
Not necessarily. Don't say that.
What is the name of the famous bicycle race?
Oh,
that is every year.
Tour de France.
Tour de France.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Now, France consumes the second largest amount of wine
I thought that was
in the world. Approximately 25 million hectoliters per year. What country drinks the most?
Italy.
I was also going to say
Oh,
Italy.
actually, is that or Spain? It's
First
one of those
person
two.
to screen, say it.
Spain?
No.
No, it's not Italy or Spain.
No.
Portugal.
France is
Portugal.
second.
Portugal.
No.
Hungary?
No.
Who else?
Ireland?
And it's not.
No.
And
England?
it's not Italy.
No.
Greece.
Is
it in Europe? Is it in Europe?
No.
America.
Mexico.
America.
Oh, come on. Dang it. Yeah. Oh, hey, Mark Lowe got that.
Oh, Mark got it. Okay. I was like, come on. We got more people than them. We got
but they drink more. We can't drink till
people.
we're 21. You know, in Italy they put down, and like in Spain they put down a glass of wine before they put down a glass of water for you at a restaurant.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
And my uncle who lives in
1, 2,
France
3, 4,
said
5,
that
6.
they start drinking at 18, not
Yeah,
21.
yeah,
so
yeah.
those are different things.
Okay. Whoever can get closest to this, okay?
Okay.
What year did Napoleon Bonaparte become the ruler of France?
Oh gosh.
1850. I'm gonna say, actually, 1820. I'm gonna say 1820.
I'm trying to decide if I should go higher or lower.
You're just going to go one.
I know, I'm like,
Okay, 1820 is what you said?
That's what I said, yeah.
I'm going to say more like when he became ruler.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? I'm going to say more like 1815 or early, because I think he died later. Like, I'm going to say 1815.
Okay. 1799.
Okay. Whoa, hey,
Okay.
I was like, oh, we were wrong. But I was like, wait, I was closer.
What year did the French Revolution start?
1789.
Yes, that's right.
I wasn't even going to try, guys.
Okay, who was king at the time of the French Revolution?
King
Louis the
19th.
Yeah, or 16th. King
Was
Louis
it
the 16th.
Okay, yeah, it was a King Louis.
Who was his wife?
Oh, Maria.
Catherine?
No, what?
Mary?
Who was his wife? It's not that hard of a question.
I don't know.
She got her head chopped
Oh,
off.
Marie Antoinette. No.
Marie Antoinette.
I was
yes,
right. Okay,
yes.
as soon as I started saying it, I like second guessed myself.
Look at me like, what?
No, I was saying what in my brain. I was going, because the first thought that came to my head was Marie Antoinette, but I was like, am I completely messed up historical dates, which is what I do all the time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was so hilarious. What? Okay, so
sorry.
That's all right. What did France give to the U.S. as a gift on June 17th?
The Statue of Liberty.
Liberty. Oh, no, Liberty.
Okay. Okay, only 2 more questions. No, I think you have a pretty comfortable lead, but French is the official language in how many countries?
Ooh. I'm going to say...
The number of countries?
Are we going to say who's
countries.
just closest to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever's closest.
I was just thinking about the one that's in the most countries.
So Diane
Spanish
says
is in
2.
I think Spanish is in the most countries, and even that it's not as many as you think it is. I should not be talking out loud.
Okay.
Just like
I'm going to say
8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's
7.
actually 8 to 7.
That's what I thought. I didn't think it was as comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. So this could come down to the wire. Okay.
boy.
What are you gonna say?
I'm gonna say.
Dave, I'm going to go with 34.
34
countries.
I'm gonna go with 10. I don't think it's that many.
29.
Oh, come on! Why did I? Wait,
Why did you just say 33?
I just really thought I. Never mind. You know what?
Oh, it's tied.
Oh wow.
Okay, so this is more of one like you just call it out, and whoever gets this one is the winner. Okay. This must look at me like, what? I love that. Who was
Listen, my brain was interrupting itself.
King Louis the 16th's wife. Who was it? What?
No, because I started saying Marie, and then in my brain I was like, what? Wait, let me register all this. Okay, sorry.
Okay. By law.
Oh dear.
And you
I
just
know
you had
laws.
to fill in the last word of the sentence.
Okay.
Oh,
And
boy.
whoever gets this is the winner. Okay? Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Y'all ready for this?
No. Why are you like one of those people on a reality show when like someone's winning something and they take forever to announce the winner? You know, they're like waiting till who's on the chopping block.
Harvey,
yes.
Yeah, he did that a lot. Okay. Okay. By law, at least 35% of all music played on private French radio stations must be
Classical.
what?
Classical. No.
Pop.
Romantic.
35% of all music played on private radio stations in France must be
The national anthem. I don't know.
national.
Is that a genre?
Come on, you guys
French music.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a. Oh wow.
Listen, I will say a lot of
specific
stupid
genre.
stuff before I get the right answer.
Oh my goodness.
wow.
Oh.
Okay.
William's
the
gonna
national
start-
anthem.
I was looking for a genre, not French music. I didn't.
Yeah.
It has to be in French, is that what I'm assuming? It can't just be, or it has to be French,
it
like,
has to be French music. I mean,
so like they can't play all American artists,
30,
all like.
35% of all the food that's served at restaurants has to be French fries. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke.
Wait, who brought French fries to America?
McDonald's?
No, it's a specific historical figure.
McDonald.
Les McDonald?
Thomas Jefferson.
No.
Really?
Yes.
Brought French fries?
Yes, he brought them to America. French fries.
France.
They're called French fried potatoes, but like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Didn't know
All
that.
No one believes me.
Mark said Marco Polo. All right. Well, we always promise a fun, somewhat competitive game of trivia here at the end of Back to the Father, and today certainly did not disappoint. All right. Thank you, William. Thank you, Sissel. Thank you, Diane. Thanks, everybody, for watching, participating, and commenting. And we will see you next week, God willing, for the next Back to the Father. New topic and new trivia and a new joke from William. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for Back to the Father. And don't forget, the glory of God is the human person fully alive. If you have comments about the show, email Dave Palmer at grnonline.com.